Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Monday.
Yep.
All right, today we are in part 3 of Jesus Stands Trial Before Pilate. Luke chapter 23, starting at verse 1. Then the entire council took Jesus to Pilate, the Roman governor. They began to state their case. This man has been leading our people astray by telling them not to pay their taxes to the Roman government and by claiming he is the Messiah, a king. So Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied, "You have said it." Pilate turned to the leading priest and to the crowd and said, "I find nothing wrong with this man." Then they became insistent, "But he is causing riots by teaching wherever he goes, all over Judea, from Galilee to Jerusalem." "Oh, he's a Galilean?" Pilate asked. When they said he was, Pilate sent him to Herod Antipas, because Galilee was under Herod's jurisdiction, and Herod happened to be in Jerusalem at the time. And now the commentary. Pilate was the Roman governor in Judea, the region where Jerusalem was located, from AD 26 to 36. He had a reputation for seeming to take special pleasure in harassing the Jews. For example, Pilate had taken money from the temple treasury and had it used to build an aqueduct. He had insulted the Jewish religion by bringing imperial images into the city. As Pilate well knew, such acts could backfire. If the people were to lodge a formal complaint against his administration, Rome might remove him from his post. Pilate was already beginning to feel insecure in his position when the Jewish leaders brought Jesus to trial. Would he continue to badger the Jews and risk his political future, or would he give in to their demands and condemn a man who he was quite sure was innocent? This was the question facing Pilate that springtime Friday morning nearly 2,000 years ago. Herod Antipas was in Jerusalem that weekend for the Passover celebration. This was the Herod who had killed John the Baptist. Pilate hoped to pass Jesus off on Herod because he knew that Jesus had lived and worked in Galilee. Herod was curious about Jesus and enjoyed making fun of him, and was not much help. Herod sent Jesus back to Pilate with the same verdict: not guilty. So, and the sham trial continues.
And they just kept passing him back and forth.
Nobody wanted blood on their hands.
But nobody would let him go either.
No.
Not guilty. Let's keep him anyway.
Yeah.
You send him over there. Not guilty. Let's keep him anyway and send him over there.
Yeah, they were kind of hoping that, maybe the Jewish leadership would back down and, just say, well, if Rome's not going to do it, I guess we just got to give up. But there was no way anybody was giving up on anything. And so, again, the Gentiles were stuck between a rock and a hard place, just as the Jews were with Jesus. They couldn't stop, but they couldn't stop even if they wanted to, because everybody's locked into their dance of death until it was over.
Yeah.
So, but that's, again, God foretold that from the beginning. So they were all just playing their part.
God was in control of the whole thing.
Of the whole thing from start to finish. Okay. Hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.